Okay, hello. This is what I think about that dude, David Deida. At least I think that's what his name is, David Deida. I'll look on the internet and see. Some dude, I think it was lecharia, wanted me to talk about that dude as if I know anything. I'm like the last fucking motherfucker you want to go to talk about relationships between men and women. He's like a dude who talks about relationships between men and like sexual relationships between men and women. And from like a new ager's perspective, and he's really smart. Like he's really educated on like spiritual teachings. He's got. I was on YouTube. I just saw a couple of videos on YouTube. It looks like he's got a bunch of different video series with different titles, but he doesn't. But not all the videos are up. It'd be like part 1 and then part 8 and then part 12, and that's all you get to see. So I saw like as much as I could find on YouTube. Kind of sporadically like that. But he was saying, yeah, I guess that there's fundamental differences between men and women. Women have the energy of the ocean and men have the energy of the ship. And I've heard that before, like women have the energy of like being, and then the men have the energy of like doing, Like all of the planets in the world are feminine, they're all round and everything, and then the energy that kind of gets superimposed onto that as the pathways of the energy going through, spiraling throughout the universe and into planets through all of the different sacred geometrical nodal points and stuff is the masculine, and so like I guess men and women look at relationships differently then. So that's why women are really preoccupied about looking really pretty and grooming all that stuff, because they don't want to be the one instigating a relationship. They just make themselves pretty so that men approach them and instigate a relationship. And so, and I guess so maybe that's why men aren't as preoccupied with looks, and they just their responsibility is just getting out there and I guess asking chicks out and stuff. So then he was telling people, a lot of the people in the seminars that I saw were like old, which kind of freaked me out. And men and women, like he gives advice to women too. Like, so it's kind of weird that there's these like old ladies who still don't know how to like get laid or something like that. But he's like, yeah, I guess he's really into body language. He's like, stand like this, really straight up like a board with your arms stiffened down. That's not inviting? You need to have your hand out and open and sexual. And yeah, I've heard that before. Like the difference between sexy, like a sexy woman, isn't so much even in the looks, but it's like how they act. Like how like a sexy woman is like just free and like confident. And then so that invites men over. Yeah. And then he had this other exercise where these people get up and he's like, yeah, tell this woman like, if you were attracted to her, tell her like what you would tell her if you were attracted to her. And he'd be like, oh, I'd want to get to know about her life and stuff. And he was like laughing at her. I guess that's not what he wanted to hear. He was like, no, you need to be passionate. You need to tell her that you want to touch her and all that stuff. And he's like, oh, and then and then they had like the women like yeah, I don't. I guess they're the women, the older women, who couldn't like admit that they wanted to like have sex or something. It's like, yeah, I don't know. There's this guy. How about there's this guy, and it's like I don't even know if like. He's like, oh. You mean you want to have sex? Oh, I get, yeah, So funny. Yeah, so that's about what he's talking about. It seems like people are interested in that kind of shit. Like, I get a friend invite. I get friends invites and stuff by like people who like are all these different guys who like give seminars helping dudes score chicks, like the right things to say and all the right things to do, and it's kind of funny. I watched a couple of them, but they're teasers. They're only like 30 seconds, and then it's like you have to buy the membership or something like that. And I'm not that interested. I'm not interested at all in any of that shit. I'm not ever gonna fucking bother with a woman unless my girlfriend wants me back. I mean, my wife wants me back. But it is interesting, the relationship between men and women. I do think, this is only 5 minutes. Cool. I think stuff's gonna change though pretty soon. As far as the relationship, I think women are going to become a lot more sexual in the future. That's my prediction. And it's going to fix the relationship between men and women a lot, because I think part of the reason that the relationship between men and women is fucked up right now, and like the reason I don't want to fucking have anything to do with a woman, is because like women are in the stage where they're like becoming human beings. They're coming out of their shells and they're starting to like feel like they can, have jobs and stuff. And I mean, I think in the past, women being in their shells and being in the houses all the time, well, the reason that they were is because, up until recently, 25% of the kids would die before they were 10, and then the other 25 would die before they were 20. So only half the people actually get to be adults. So in order to keep the population, and plus people were dying in wars and all that stupid shit. So in order to keep the population like sustainable, women basically had to be pregnant all the time. Like literally half the time of their adult lives, they were pregnant. Kids would pop out. They pop out 13 kids, but only 6 of them would actually turn into people. So, and then out of those 6, like 5 of them would die in wars. So that's why, that's the technical reason why women weren't ever having power, because they were having to be at home all the time and not out there doing stuff. And they didn't have books and stuff that they could read and educate. They were busy watching after the kids, making sure they didn't fall in a well or something. So then women come out, but I think, I don't think it's men's fault. Women are all, like, sometimes you hear women like Oprah and stuff. I like Oprah, but like blaming things like men's fault. I think it's just as much women's fault as men's fault. And then so women come out in the world these days and they're like, and so then they're all pissed off at men and they want to be like assholes to men, because I guess if you're a really pretty girl and there's dudes hitting on you all the time, you get in the habit of always turning dudes down. But women are like bitches about it. They're like, they'd like walk away from you like while you're mid-sentence talking to them, like roll their eyes at you while you're like, if you smile at them and shit, like stuff that a man would never fucking do. Like I was in a restaurant a couple years ago in Austin, and I was actually sitting there like with the owner of the restaurant, and the waitress comes by, and I guess I looked at her too long, because she goes, "What do you want?" And I go, "Oh, no, nothing." And she goes, "Hey, Michael, tell your friends not to stare at me unless they want something." I was like, imagine a dude saying that, a dude waiter saying that. They're just fucking bitches. But I think in the end, and they're also like really, I guess, they're afraid of sex. And maybe women were afraid of sex because, they'd have to deal with having the baby. I remember my wife used to tell me that women have this, and she had this recurring nightmare that gerbils, like rodents, would crawl up in her pussy and eat her from the inside out, kind of a stuff. So I think women in the past were really like physically afraid of men. And so then, like we're kind of changing in the world. We're changing these days. And I think, people about my age, people my age are going to be the last of the generations of the people who actually understand how it was in the olden days. Like holding on to that olden energy and being able to understand both. I think people my age, born in like early 70s, are like really special people for that reason. And, but like in the past, like women, they're afraid of men, like physically afraid of men, like it's in their DNA. And so that fear kind of turns into like, kind of like not having a problem, like being a bitch, But like, I think in the future, men and women are actually going to start to be like on the same level. We're actually on the same level now. A lot of people just don't realize it yet. And in fact, women, the affirmative action thing has gone way into the side of women, I think. I think a woman could get like help, financial help to do like her little project or something. I think a lot easier than a man just because she's a woman. And there's not as much competition for women because women still haven't come out of their shell yet. Just kind of like not believing in themselves. I mean, here's an example. Like, who are the two female politicians that you can think of who are like potential presidential candidates? Sarah Palin and Michelle Bachmann, who are both fucking imbeciles. It's like, but you can think of like a million women who are really smart, who know about politics. How come they're not running? It's because they're not confident. Oprah Winfrey doesn't have any confidence in herself. I mean, she can babble about nonsense in front of millions of people, but she can't, like, take the fucking horse by the reins, you know what I mean? I mean, who else is smart? There's so many women. Like, Katie Couric. Is she ever going to run for president? No, she's not. She doesn't have the confidence. And all those other, like, pundits, like, political pundits. Like Ann Coulter, would she ever run? Well, she was kind of a comedian. I don't know if she takes herself seriously, but yeah, that kind of a thing, you know? But anyways, in the future, I think men and women are going to be really more on the same level as a society. Basically, men and women are going to be like, basically just people. You know, you talk to a woman like you talk to a man, and a man talks to... But then, obviously, that sexual thing is still going to be... is going to always exist. And like, yeah, like that dude, David Deida or whatever, said that like sexual interaction between men and women is actually, it's not just like fucking, you know, orgasm in the dick area. It's also energy. It's also sexual energy. And I think it's something that, you can actually interact with normal everyday women too, you know, like be like, ooh, wow. Like kind of stare at and like be attracted to and stuff more. But as far as like sexual encounters like between men and women in the future, I think men and women are going to be a lot, or women, it's all up to the women as far as sexual interaction between men and women is concerned. But I think women are going to like become very like sexual in the future, dude. I mean, like skanks. I think women are going to be spreading their legs, are going to be just as horny as dudes in about 20 years. That's my prediction. The reason that I think that is like, I've been to Brazil, and the women in Brazil are like that. I know it's like hard to believe if you haven't been there, but if you're like a doofusy dude in America, and you're like, ooh, you're horny and you want to like have you want to fuck a girl, go down to Brazil, dude. Because in Brazil, you know, you'll be like in like the plaza watching a street performer or something, and then like on the other side, there's going to be like a black girl like staring at you and not taking the eyes off, just like staring you down. And then that basically means, come over here, talk to me. And then the first question they ask you is, where's your hotel? And be like, over there, and you know, and then be like, and then they're going to expect you to ask him to offer to buy him a drink. And if you buy him a drink, yeah, dude, they're going to fuck your brains out, dude. It's fucking crazy. But I think like white women are going to become like that pretty soon. You know, like that dude, what's his name? Situation. I heard him on the interview with Howard Stern the other day. And he invented the term DTF, down to fuck. And so now all these chicks are like, I'm DTF, I'm down to fuck. And that just fucks those chicks all the time. Like every week he has sex with like, every couple days, everywhere he goes, he fucks like 20 chicks. It's crazy. But you know, they do that with him because he knows how women think. That dude, you know, he has the perfume on, he's got the hot body, and he dresses in clean clothes, and like and smells good, and has the haircut. And I think that's obviously, and he's rich and famous. And if you've got all that going on, that's what women are all about, man. So I think, yeah, if you have that, I think in the future women are going to be just as sexual as men. They're going to, and yeah, so because that obviously that energy is always going to exist between men and women, you know. But yeah, that dude David was saying like how to interact with women, and what I understood. I mean, I'll just like, I guess, bring in my own idea about what my whole idea about like sexual encounter with women is. Like, yeah, like I'm really attracted to women. Like like my wife, you know, I couldn't kind of keep my hands off of her. Like I wanted to like be touching her all the time, like hugging her and like squeezing her, you know, grabbing her ass all the time. And And then she'd want to touch me, like walking down the street. She'd want to walk, hand in hand, which I wasn't really all about. It just made me feel like it kind of put too much energy of her in her. I don't know. I just didn't like that. When I touched her, I need to touch her in different places and like let go, touch, let go, but not like hold the hands all the whole time. But like spooning at night, and it's like that energy kind of makes you like relaxed and just makes you feel like at home, basically, like you're in a cozy cave, when it's raining outside. And this is like what life is all about, is like cuddling with your wife, And yeah, so I think it's like really physical. So yeah, like that dude said, like if you're attracted to this girl, what would you tell him? And it's like, well, if you're attracted, it's like if you're attracted to her, you'd have to tell her that you want to like, I guess, touch her and like take her clothes off and like grab her boobs and lick her boobs and put oil all over her body and like massage her muscles. That's what I would want to do. That's what I'd do to a girl, to like a hot girl, one of these like athlete chicks, like give her a massage, like for like 3 hours, like destroy her muscles, like so much pressure that it's like painful, like squeeze all of the fucking toxins out, for like 3 hours. That's what I'd want to do. And then lick her pussy and then fuck her. And then she does the same thing to me. I don't know. And there are women who can do that. I mean, I when I was in Austin and I had money, I was working out at the gym and like I got a membership for a month at the, what's it called? Massage Envy. And there was this girl in there who was fucking hot, dude. I can't remember her name, man. But she was going to like go bike touring pretty soon too. But she fucking knew how to do it. She squeezed my muscles so hard, dude. It was awesome. It was insane. But like, I would have even had it harder, But I mean, that kind of stuff isn't even like sexual. Like I would, like if I was rich, I'd get massages. I'd probably actually rather have a massage from a guy because they're stronger, because that's what massage is to me, is just squeezing the fuck out of the muscles, squeezing all the toxins out. And that's what massage is, like my brother is a masseur, and every time he gives me like, which has only been like once or twice, what is it? Thai massage. Because he does that too. He does rolfing and Thai massage and then some other massage. All I do is harder. He doesn't listen to me at all, I mean, because that's what massage is. But anyways, that's what I would do. That's what I do with a girl. I'd be like, I'm going to fucking destroy you. But I'm going to like have my hands all over you. It's kind of like one of these nudie pictures, only it's like for real, And then I expect her to do that to me. That's what I tried to do with my wife, but she was like, wasn't really, well, towards the end, wasn't really into that. Oh yeah. But I mean, yeah, I think girls like to make out and stuff. Like I'd love to make out with my wife. She's good too. She had big lips. But yeah, dude, I think chicks are going to be, or I think in the future it's going to be a lot less like, people are going to have a lot less of the attitude of like, you have to be married. You have your one love forever and ever and ever, because that was like that's like the way of life back then. You would have your husband and your wife who were together, and they had to be together to take care of the kids. And there was a lot less social mobility. I mean, it was the same thing with jobs. You had your job and you had that job forever. If you, even with the land, you're literally tied to the land. You're working the soil forever and ever and ever. You couldn't even go over to the world. You had to get permission from the freaking Lord, So that kind of a thing. But now if people are free to like travel wherever they want, get whatever the job they want, buy whatever they want, it's going to carry over to having these sexual intercourse, making out, massaging each other, type of cuddling and all that kind of stuff of the opposite sex. Like a lot more partners in your life. And yeah, I think people in the future are going to be skanky. Girls. It's all up to the girls, but I think they're going to be skanky as hell. There's this kid in Las Vegas who's telling me his mother is a teacher in a middle school, and all the like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade girls are like have all these different bracelets on their hands, and all the different whatever bracelet they have on their hand, on their wrist, signifies what they do sexually for money with the kids at the school. So if a girl, so like, yeah, and they go into the bathroom all the time, and the girls would, like, they'd have intercourse, they would fucking suck his dick, get their pussies licked. I mean, the guy was saying everything, and he was like, couldn't believe it, but that's what his mom told him. The kids these days are doing, and I mean, I was like, what? I can't know how I can believe that, but like, yeah, dude, I think in the future people are gonna, and that's kind of what, I mean, obviously that's what guys are into, but apparently deep down somewhere, that's kind of what women would be into if you were living in like a perfect world type of a thing. So I think we will kind of be living in a perfect world pretty soon, so there's no reason why that won't happen. But I predict it's going to be about 20 years or something, you know. So yeah, dude, when I'm like 60 or 70, I'm going to have the body. And you can guarantee this. This is a 100% fact. I'm going to have the body of like a totally buff 20-year-old. And I'm going to be like going to the high schools. I'm going to be like, yo, what's up? DTF, motherfucker. Yeah, that's about all I remember about what that dude was saying. Yeah, okay. 20 minutes.